You know, most people believe that income is about how much you make, but I don't fully agree with that. I've seen people make good money and still feel broke. I've seen people make less and have more control. The difference usually comes down to the habits and things and steps that they're taking. Not big dramatic things, just everyday habits that quietly control your income and how your income actually works. So today, I'm going to walk you through the 4 habits that might be affecting your income without you even realizing it. And I'll give you some insight, or rather, some simple ways to start shifting them. All right, everybody, let's go. See you there. You guys, I cannot believe I recorded that entire video and had to completely scrap it for several reasons. One, my microphone went completely out from the very beginning. I had no clue. And I recorded the entire video with no audio. And then there was some weird stuff going on with my phone. So just that is why you see a different scene. And instead of Anthony and Franklin, you see Pinky and Greenie. I it took me about a couple of days to actually kind of get my life back together. So we are going to continue on because I do have some great content for you today that I think is really going to be helpful. So, April is Financial Literacy Month, and I wanted to pay homage to that and participate by putting on my financial instructor's hat and bringing you some content this month that gets you thinking about your money and financial literacy. And so, I want to start off with 4 habits that quietly control your income and what you can do instead. So now we got to talk about this. But before we do, welcome to Save Money Saves You, where we save our money so our money can save us and we have fun along the way. And I am Kendra, and I want to start by saying I am your friend. Okay. So if you feel like your money just be disappearing, like you trying, but it's not adding up, you keep ending up in the same spot, or you wondering what the heck is really going on, it could very well be your habits. And so today I'm going to walk you through these 4 habits that quietly control your income and what you can actually do to start changing them, because just knowing the habit is not enough. You need to know what to do in real life. And so I want to preface this by saying that I am not the end all be all when it comes to everything financial knowledge, as you will hear all of us say. So you take what you feel applies to your situation and you put that in practice, because at the end of the day, personal finance is personal and it is up to each individual person. But I wanted to share these with you because over the years, both in my own life and the lives of the students that I have worked with, these are a lot of the common themes that come up. Okay. So I want to start with habit number 1, which is not paying attention. And basically, when I say that, I'm saying you're not paying attention to your money. And you have you ever said, like, I know I had more money than this. What happened? That right there, that's not random, right? That comes from not actually looking at your money consistently. A lot of us are spending, swiping, tapping subscriptions, hitting quick runs to the store, and we're not really checking what's leaving, and that can be detrimental to you. And that is one way, definitely, that your money and your income can be affected and drained. Okay, so here's what I want you to start doing instead. So I want you to start checking your account every single day. But in order to do that, you've got to have the banking app on your phone if you've got one. If you've got it installed and signed up, great, you've already done it. But if not, I need you to get that on there, whether it be Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, every major bank, even the regional banks, the smaller ones, credit unions, everybody has a banking app these days. So I want you to download that. Make sure you have it on your phone, because this is going to be something that you make a part of your regular life, okay? Now you're going to open it and you're going to review the last 7 days of your transactions. Now, I know you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, did I mean to spend that? And that's okay. No, it happens. It happens. It's fine. But then what I want you to do is pick one category that you spent the most money in. Just one, not everything. And For us, I can tell you in our absolute worst time where we were just not checking, and that was because life was lifing at the moment. And if you're a parent, busy parent, all of the things, I was in school, kids, caregiving for my mother-in-law, and there was just a time period where I was just not keeping up and keeping my eye on our money. And I will tell you right now, the worst time that I can say we had is when we spent over $800 in fast food in 1 month. $800. I kid you not, my mouth hit the floor when I finally went back and actually looked. And I was like, no, $800 on dining out. And it's very easy to happen, right? When you're busy, you get home late, the kids still got to eat, it's too late to cook, you got homework or things like that, you end up just stopping and grabbing something. And at that time we were a family of 6, and so you can only imagine one trip to McDonald's with a family of 6. Even if you stick to the value menu, you still over $30-$40, right? So this eating out category can sneak up on you if you're not careful. And so definitely look at that category and just get a put your eyes on it and calculate up and figure out which one you spent the most money in. Because now what I want you to do is decide one small thing you're going to try to do differently this week in that category. And so that month that we hit that $800, what I did is I said, okay, I'm going to have to get a handle on this, and I'm going to have to start meal planning for us. Because basically the reason why we hit that 800 is because I wasn't planning our meals. There was no plan in place. And so I had to really sit down and get intentional and start saying, okay, what do we have in the cabinet? What can we eat? And what can I plan out? And so I didn't jump into doing that 7 days a week because that was just not going to work, right? But I did make small steps, and I was like, okay, I'm going to meal plan on the busiest days that I know is a good chance that we're going to eat out. And that's the small thing that I did. So we started out with me meal planning 3 meals a week because there were 3 days out of the week that were the absolute busiest and the most insane when I looked at the pattern. And so that was the one small thing that I changed on that category. And then after that, you want to set a simple limit for that category for the following week. So this is the important part. Um, you kind of you got to corral or kind of rein your spending in. And so by doing that, you are going to have to put yourself on some limits, parameters, that famous B word budget when it comes to things in these categories. So some of these categories, depending on what yours is, you may not be able to kind of change it up. Like, let's say if gas is your big one. If gas is your big one, you got to drive to and from work, and that's just the one that costs you a lot. You might not be able to tweak that. If you can, maybe look at, is there a way for you to take public transit? But again, that's money. So some categories you just, it is what it is, and you may not be able to work with it. So you want to find a category that you can make adjustments in. And a lot of times it is going to be eating out, it is going to be food, maybe entertainment, things like that. Subscriptions, hey, hello, that's another one that we have that's big. Can I just take a little pause here and just say, am I the only one that is absolutely tired of everybody having a subscription? I mean, it started off great, when people talk about, okay, cut the cable cord and all of that. That's cool. But now, by the time you paying for everybody's subscription, honey, you paying for cable and then some. Okay, all right. Okay, y'all. Let me get off my soapbox and get back to this. But I just had to say that. Let me know down in the comments if it's just me, because that really irritates me. A subscription for everything? Okay. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me get off my rant and get back to it. Okay. So for the categories that you can adjust and make changes to, you want to set a simple limit for that category. And this is not like, don't be unrealistic with it. If you know that you've never done it before, like, let's take that $800 month where we had groceries, right? So if I'm starting with 3 days a week, there's still 4 days out of the week where we still need to eat. And so for us, I was like, okay, if we can get down to maybe, I don't know, $100 for the week. And again, the goal was to cut that out, period. But I had to be realistic because I knew there was no way we were going to be able to go from spending $800 in fast food, having to grab it and go, to all of a sudden we cooking every day at home. I knew that wasn't possible, so we had to take it down in steps. And so that's what I did. So be realistic when you set whatever your limit is for that category, and also be realistic when you decide that one small thing you're going to do differently for the week. Because when it's realistic, you're more than likely to do it. Realistic and simple, you're more than likely to do it. And then once you do that, you're going to track how you did at the end of the week and keep what worked and adjust what didn't. So if something didn't work, then you want to change it. Look at, was it just a fluke? Was it, well, I don't want to say fluke, but was it just something unique to that particular week? Or was it just maybe you were too aggressive in your goal, or you weren't realistic? So you want to decide, how did I do? Put your eyes back on it and go from there. Now the goal eventually is to put your eyes on your account. I mean, I would like to say minimum twice a week, but it really is going to come down to how often you spend and how often money comes and goes out of your account, how often you get paid. And so it's going to be unique to you on what your frequency needs to be, but you definitely need a frequency so that you can start paying attention to your money and where it's going. Because the sooner you do that, the more often you do that, the quicker you'll catch those little nuances and you'll be able to get a handle on it. Okay. Let me know down in the comments below if habit number one resonates with you, if you're one of those people that just don't pay attention. And if you are, listen, no judgment, that was me. And sometimes it is still me, depending on what we got going on. But the goal is, once you know about it, you put in steps in place and additional habits so that you can correct it. And, well, not so much correct like it's this whole, like you in school or nothing, but you want to make sure that you put better habits in place to replace the habits that are draining your income. Okay. Now, habit number two, choosing now over later, is this one right here, is how a lot of money problems start, because in the moment it feels small. I'm just going to grab this real quick. I'll figure it out later. I'll make it work. But unfortunately, later always shows up, right? So I saw a YouTube video where it was a documentary on people that were retired, and they talked to each one of them, and they basically said they wish they would have done things differently when they were in their younger years and their working years. And so it doesn't have to be that extreme down the road where it's like now, later being retirement, but it could be later, could be next month, later could be next year, later could be next week. It's all about not looking ahead and knowing what you've got coming up, and just deciding that you're just going to live in the moment, or you're just going to spend in the moment and not worry about what's coming around the corner. There's a YouTuber called Smart Money Bro, and I like what he says. He always says the best person to take care of the old you is the young you. And I'm just going to tweak that a little bit and say the best person to take care of the later you is the now you. I know that's kind of cheesy, but that's really the point that I'm making, is when you worry about right now and don't even plan or think about tomorrow, the next day, or next week, and you say you worry about it later, that can definitely drain your income. So what are some of those habits that you can do instead? So now, saying these, I know some of these are going to be more challenging. I know depending on the situation, you're not going to be able to actively do this. But if you give it a good shot, eventually at some point you will be able to start doing these. Just take your time and don't beat yourself up. And if it doesn't work the first time, keep trying. It takes 21 days to create a habit, right? So you didn't get into the situation overnight, and you're not going to get out of it overnight. So just take your time, apply these steps when you can, how you can. And as long as you got in your mindset that you're going to get control of your money, and stop letting your income be bled dry because of little things that you're doing, you'll make the difference. It happens. Trust me, I know from experience. So pause before buying, both in store and online. So basically, in that moment when you are getting ready to swipe that card, or you're getting ready to hit checkout, I want you to pause. Now, once you do that, I want you to walk away or close the app for about 24 hours. It's like, girl, what? I know, but the goal here is to interrupt the behavior. And that is what we're doing. We want to interrupt the behavior in the moment and give yourself an opportunity to really think about that purchase and what you want to do. Give yourself 24 hours. That's about the average that I've heard from different finance educators, gurus. I don't know. I'm losing the word here. The Dave Ramseys of the world, Susie Ormans of the world, all those people. You want Anthony O'Neill. You want to wait about 24 hours before you revisit and come back to that. Okay. And then you want to ask yourself, can do I still want this? This is after you've thought about it and you let it sit for 24 hours. Do I still want this? Listen, I do this all the time. I'm not gonna lie. I got so much stuff that is just sitting in my cart on Amazon. Amazon is gonna call me at some point like, ma'am, what you doing? So I got so much stuff just sitting in my cart. And you know how like if you leave something in your cart, you get an email that says, hey, you left something in your cart. I know I did. I did it on purpose. So now what I do, instead of just letting it sit in the cart, I'll move, you know how like a Walmart and Amazon has a save for later. I'll do that. And so I'll put it in there and then I'll save it for later. And then I won't buy it right away. And I gotta say, Alexa is listen, she sits right on my desk and she be alerting me, hey, an item that you're watching is on sale. Want me to put it in your cart? I'll tell her no. But then sometimes I'll tell her yes, and then I'll go pull it up on Amazon in my cart, and then I'll just move it to save for later because it's something that I do eventually want, but I just don't have to have it today. And so I'll put it in the cart, save it for later, and that way it's there when I'm ready to go back and revisit, or if I have the funds to go ahead and purchase it. So that's how I do it. So I don't be jumping up here grabbing everything because it's on sale. But listen, that good sale, honey, I'm gonna tell you right now, a good sale, whoo, mess with me. So now that you've waited 24 hours, you asked if you still want this. You definitely want to check your account because, again, the goal is to put your eyes on your money to make sure that you are not going into the negative, that everything is clear, that you even have the funds. Now, if you don't have a bank account and you have all cash, you want to check that too. Now, me, I'm guilty of cash going way faster than my account. And I know what it is. It's the change when you break those bills and you get the change back. Before I know it, I got $2. So I have to be very intentional when I use cash to the point to where I start keeping $1 in change in my purse. So that way, when I have to break a bill, I'm more than likely to get whole dollars back. But now they're not giving you pennies anyway. So yeah, that's been fun. Anybody else? That's been fun with trying to get some change when they don't give you pennies no more. So once you check your account, you want to decide, can you afford this right now without affecting anything else? And that's where that looking at now over later comes in. Is there a bill coming up that you need to make sure is paid? Is there, if you have children, is there something they need that's coming up? So you want to look at all of that. And if it's something you can afford without affecting anything else, then by all means, honey, if you got it and you can get it, then you buy it, but you've bought it with intention. You've waited 24 hours, you've checked your account, and now you can say, yes, I can get this and it is not going to affect anything else. Go for it. But if not, then the goal, we rather plan for it instead of impulse shopping or impulse buying. And so when I say plan for it, that's where sinking funds come in, savings plans. And basically, when it's a sinking fund, if you don't know what that is, that's when you basically are just going to take small increments from anytime you get paid or anytime you have some money. You take small increments and set it aside so that by the time this thing comes up, whether it be a bill, whether it be an event, something that your kids need, that's a big amount, it's going to already be there. The money is going to already be there. And so that is what I do a lot. I do a lot of sinking funds when it comes to things that we need so that we don't have that big chunk due at the end. And for me, I'll do it like for Costco. I'll do it for like our insurance tax that's due. Didn't get to do it this year. So now we left with that big sucker. But things like that is what I do that for. And it is a very, very easy way to do that. So if you're interested, if you don't know or not familiar with sinking funds, let me know down in the comments below, and I will be glad to do a little quick video going through and explaining what sinking funds are and how to use them. And in the meantime, there are tons of videos and YouTubers out here that have done that. So you can also find those. But yes, I would love to do a video if you guys want me to on what sinking funds is. I can show you all of mine, and then we can walk through how to use them, okay? Now, Habit number 3 is an emotional one. This is what I call emotional spending. And it's basically, you want to feel better. This one's real, right? So sometimes you're not spending because you need something, you're spending because of how you feel, right? And stress, frustration, being overwhelmed, boredom, and so spending feels like relief in the moment, but unfortunately it is draining your money, right? So here's what you do instead. So you want to pause your spending in the moment when your emotions are high and you feel the urge to spend. And I know that is not going to be easy, but again, as in the previous habit, we want to disrupt the behavior in the moment when it's happening, because that is the best time for you to implement the change, is right when you capture what you're feeling in that moment, right? So don't buy it right now. Put it back. Leave it in the cart on the website and close the app. If you're in the store, put it back. Again, I am so guilty of this. I do this all the time. I will put something back. And I have, like, listen, I'm guilty of emotionally spending, right? I'll be frustrated, been a rough day at work for the week, and I come home and I'm like, I just want to go and go. And sometimes I will do that. But the difference is I already know what we can and cannot spend, and I've already got my eyes on my money, and I can comfortably say, yes, we can do this. Let's go. But no, that was not always the case. I did not know always over the years. And when I was younger, honey, I would just spend. I would just spend. I didn't care. I just did it. YOLO. Yeah, that was me. So in that moment, ask yourself, what are you feeling right now? You want to sit in that. You want to get in touch with how you're feeling. And so again, you don't want to spend in that moment. You want to put it back and you want to really get in touch with what you're actually feeling right now. And then choose a non-spending action that meets your need, whether it be step away, take a breath, breathing exercises, journal, talk to someone, go for a walk, a jog, because again, the goal is to disrupt the pattern, and we got to get to the core of what's actually going on and focus. Ooh, excuse me, hiccups. And did I hit my mic? I think I did. Sorry. And focus on that. So, for example, some things you could do is, instead of spending, or rather, yeah, instead of spending, if you're stressed, take a break, take a walk. If you're overwhelmed, maybe sit and write things out. If you're mentally drained, just step away, because in the end, money is not solving that feeling, right? Not solving it at all. I keep bumping this table. Once you do all of these things, you want to give yourself time to calm down. And if you've done the proper non spending action, you should be calming yourself down and kind of recentering yourself so that your emotions are more regulated. And once you do that, then you want to revisit that purchase later to see if you still want to buy it. And so now you're deciding from a clear place and not just reacting to how you felt in the moment, right? Because that is what's going to help you when it comes to your emotional spending. So go through all of these steps. And again, when your emotions are high, the last thing you probably even want to do is do all of these. But if you do one thing, get in tune with, what are you feeling at the moment? Am I hungry? Am I upset? Am I just frustrated because I had a bad day? That client made me mad, or what have you? That's a very good start. Because if you've ever heard over the years, when it comes to trying to change behaviors or anything like that, or a problem, your first step is admitting it. And so if you can sit in your feelings and admit, this is what I'm actually feeling right now, I believe that'll help you when it comes to emotionally spending. Okay. Now, habit number 4 is a little interesting because it's a little different. So it's not always about keeping up with other people. This is more about trying to maintain an image. The pressure to look like you're doing okay, to look successful, to look put together, even when your money isn't there yet. And this one, image driven spending, is all about your image, right? So when you feel that pressure, you want to catch it. But this one is probably one of the harder ones because it deals with more than just behavior with your money. It also deals with how you think, how you see yourself, what you perceive that you should be doing and what other people think about you. So again, you want to catch that moment when you feel pressure to look a certain way. Because remember, again, the goal is to disrupt the pattern and disrupt the behavior rather. And so in that moment, you want to catch it and say, when you feel pressure to look a certain way, you want to catch that. And then you want to honestly ask yourself, like, who am I trying to impress right now? Who are you trying to impress? Like at the end of the day, when you're trying to look a certain way, and who is it that you're looking to impress? You wanna check in with yourself and ask that question. And then you want to ask yourself honestly, rather pause before spending. Again, we're going to disrupt that pattern, disrupt that behavior. So you don't want to spend right now. You want to really look and think about who you're trying to impress, and then don't spend yet. But then you want to ask yourself, would you still buy this if nobody saw it? And that's an honest question right there that'll tell you everything. Will you still put this in your cart if you was the only person walking around it? That's big, and you need to know. And then remind yourself, looking rich and being stable are not the same thing. It's not. Like, you can look the part all day long, but if your money ain't right and you behind on bills, listen, I've seen it happen. You behind on bills, your money not right, people gonna talk about you when your stuff all come crashing down. They're gonna talk about you. I've seen it. And then what? You did all of that for what? It's not that important. It's not. Walk away and give it time and come back to decide if this fits in your real life, whatever this purchase is. You got to decide, does this fit your money, your bills, your priorities? That's important because at the end of the day, you got to take care of house and home. You got to take care of you. You got to make sure that you're good, your family's good, your bills are paid. And if what you're trying to buy don't serve that in this moment, then don't buy it. Okay? But if you can't afford it, putting all the other steps in place, you've checked your income, you've checked your bank account rather, sorry, not income, and you know that you can do it, and you've waited and you've thought about it, then you're buying it intentionally, and that is the goal. So everyone, I know this video is probably a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I hope that you resonate with some of these, and I've given you some helpful tips to help you if some of these habits are yours, so that you can help um, create new ones. And so you don't have to fix all four of these habits at once. They are small, but they do quietly control your income over time. So start off small and pick one to focus on this week. Take what applies to you, use what works, and build from there. And if you would like to have a reminder of what these are, I have created a freebie that will be in the Ko-fi shop that lists all four of these habits out for you. And there's a checklist here through each one of them, habit 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then behind that is going to be 4 sheets for each habit, where you can just take one and then any kind of weekly notes you want to jot down. This will be a PDF in a full page PDF in the Ko-fi shop. I will link the description of I will put the link in the description down below, and you all can grab that. So again, there's 4 sheets here for each habit and then the checklist. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like I said, this is the first one for the month of April because I'm wanting to participate in Financial Literacy Month. I hope you all have a great week. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And remember to keep saving your money, because your money will always save you. Bye, everybody.